Alright, this project is going to be this new Amazon backup camera. Yay! I've had a backup camera before, but we're going to try and make it so that this one is, first off, detachable, and second off, so that it fits over top my license plate. Yeah, that is my license plate. If you really want to find me, you can run it out. I don't think I have that many fans. Don't think I got to worry about it. And if I do get that many fans, I'll be living somewhere else. But first things first is I want to make a bracket, because this one is designed to be permanently mounted to the back of a trailer, like your camper or whatever. And I would rather make this one detachable so I can take it off the back of my truck and put it on the back of my camper, and vice versa. We're also going to do some funky things with the wiring and go on from there, so that way I can turn it on when I'm hooking up a camper or going to hitch up, and it should make it a lot easier to do that, because I do a lot of trailer towing. Alright, we'll see where we end up. Let's get started. So what I did was I took the bracket off, and I did a whole bunch of measuring before I took the bracket off. But here's what I've come up with. This part is going to sit behind the license plate. The license plate is going to bolt through to it. Alright, that's going to hold it on the bumper. And then cut this out. Well, actually cut this the whole way to here. Cut this the whole way there. And then cut this off. Cut this off. Cut this off. And this off. And then this will fold down. And then these two corners, this part and this part, will fold in, and will fold in. It should create like an overhang, over top of this. Draw out this hole, this hole, this hole, this hole. Actually, I'll draw them out first. And that will be where I'm planning on bolting this right to here. This side and this side. And I'm going to use two nut certs in here. And then, of course, these holes will be for my license plate. Everybody got that? Alright, let's see if I can cut this up and make it work. Alright, and this is about what you end up with. Or at least I ended up with. Now, this should give you a better idea. I'm going to bend this flap down at a 90. And I'm going to bend these two up at a 90. And then my license plate should, I'm hoping, tuck right up underneath. So that way I don't have to cut into my license plate. But this way, if you step on it, the weight will get transferred down into these, which will push against the license plate, which will push against this, which will push against the bumper. Got that? Alright, let's show you what it looks like when it's done. Alright, and that's about what you get. Holes line up pretty good. Pretty sure when I ran the bolt through there, they'll figure their own path out. Here it is from the back side. Front side again. If I had to do over again, I'd cut this a little wider. See, it gets real tight at the top. I would have made the cut across the top just a little wider. I used a 40 thousandths grinding wheel. I probably could have used an 1/8. And that would have left me more room. But, I mean, it'll work. Alright, paint it. So, sometimes you gotta take a step back when you're fabricating and realize you're gonna make mistakes, and you're gonna make quite a few. And one of the mistakes I made was I forgot about this antenna. This antenna, it can bend, it can go up, it can go down. Well, if it was on the other side of the bracket, it could go down. All different directions. But the problem is that whenever I made this first bracket, I didn't leave any room for it, because see how it sticks out the back? I didn't compensate for that. So, and whenever this was still here, I could have drilled a hole in the side, but then the antenna be sticking out here exposed. So for me, a better option is to take and make a new bracket like such. I'll weld that up in a 90. Basically make a giant piece of angle iron, and then I'm going to clamp and weld and or attach this to the bottom side. And then whenever you stick this inside the bracket, like such, you can see that antenna is protected, so nobody be stepping on it or messing with it or anything like that. So yeah, my paint didn't even dry, greasy fingerprints all over it once. But we're gonna zap this to that like such, and then we're gonna attach this to that like such. All right, here we go. So anyway, now we're waiting for the paint to dry. I test fitted, it fits and stuff. Let's get on back here. Now I had a backup camera before, and what I did was I came up here into my trailer plug wiring, trailer plug wiring, and I isolated the trailer reverse lights, and I tapped into it. And this is the old connector for that. I just clipped it off, peeled the wires back. Now this is the new plug for the new backup camera, and right there it is. But anyway, ground was the trailer ground, and I plugged it into the trailer reverse lights wiring, and that's where it's going to come in here handy in a minute to know. And I'm going to take these two. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put some spades on them and spade them together, weatherproof spades. And the reason for that is I would like to be able to remove this camera, and like I said, put it on my trailer. So here I go. I'm going to put some spade connectors on, and then we're going to jump in and worry about wiring up everything inside there. Alright. Alright, that's showing we got power. If I did this right, we got power to our screen. We should see what's behind us right now. Aha, there it is. I just got the camera laying on the bumper. I don't have it in the bracket or anything, but we're good. Let's move on to phase 2, making it cooler. Alright, I got the new monitor wired in, hardwired into my cigarette lighter. A long time ago I ran a wire up in behind and up through the A-pillar, connected directly to the back side of my cigarette lighter because I wanted to have a cigarette port. But the true trick that I'm going to show you that I hope is going to work involves this up here. This fuse right, where am I at? Finger, right there. Okay, this number 10 fuse. Don't mind that wire. This number 10 fuse. It's connected directly to this light green wire here. It runs down into here, and that's your trailer reverse backup lamp. Your regular reverse lights are here, and between these two is a diode, so that if this fuse, and the idea is that this fuse blows, if there's a short in your trailer and this fuse blows here, it won't blow your reverse lights out in the truck. And the same fact is if the trailer is back feeding electricity, meaning the trailer is creating a positive charge, it won't allow your reverse lights to come on in the truck. Most trailers don't use that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tap a switched 12 volt power source into my light green wire. Right there. Just going to vamp it right in. And I'm going to run a wire out, get it into the cab somehow. Haven't decided how just exactly yet. And hook it up to the same power source that's powering the monitor. And the idea is, if I ever want to just look at what's behind me, I just flip the switch, and boom, and then turn the switch off. On, off, on, off, on, off. And I'll be able to look through the camera at stuff behind me without actually turning the reverse lights on, without actually backing up. And this will help me when I'm hooking up trailers, because you ever get a trailer and you back up and you're just a hair too far and then you got to pull forward again. And when you do, you lose your camera and you don't know where you're at forward, so you put it back in reverse and you're too far. Yeah, I hate that. This might be overkill, but it's what I do. Alright, as you can see, the light green wire on this Silverado. I wired it. That red wire goes to this switch power source. The one thing I don't like is this thing stays on all the time. My old one, whenever the camera wasn't on, it would turn itself off. I'm not crazy about that. But anyway, oh wow, why is that popped open? Anyway, let's see if it works. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Turn our switch on, and we can see behind us. We got no reverse lights now. Admittedly, I don't have the ignition on right now. I did have the ignition on, that's why the taillights were on. But let's turn the ignition on. See if our reverse lights. Yep, they is off. And our camera is still rolling. Alright. Off. Off. Okay, time to put our illustrious bracket on and put everything back together and be done for tonight. In case you didn't know, I'm working on the exhaust too. That's another video I'm putting together. I don't know which one's going to hit the screen first, but I'll just have you know I started on this at about 8 this morning and it's almost 11 o'clock at night. So I'm going to throw this on and we'll finish it up tomorrow. The exhaust anyway. Right, bye. Alright, I did miss one detail. I didn't realize I had a problem, and I'm sorry I didn't videotape it all, but as you can tell, it took a lot of fuses to figure this out. But what you need to do also when you wire up your switch for your reverse, just straight on switch or toggle switch, make sure to put in a diode, because what was happening was every time I would put the truck into reverse, this wire was giving all the current that was passing through the trailer brake emergency stop switch and giving it a path directly to ground. I'm not going to go into how, I don't 100% know, but I know that if you want to stop current, you're doing a diode. So this diode's got a wall here and an arrow here, so the arrow is the direction that the current can flow. So I can send current into this system, but no electricity can get past that wall. So I'm going to put this brace back in, clean up my garage some, and we are completely done. And if it doesn't work, if it breaks, well, that's somebody else's problem. But anyways, here's what we got. Got my emergency brake on so I don't go through the garage door, and I actually have the back end still jacked up. But there's the camera. I'm going to put it in reverse. And it comes on so I can see what's behind me. Now, close it off, turn it off. Let's say I'm driving down the road and I want to see if I'm being chased. Bam. That'll stay on. So whenever I'm hooking up my trailers, I can just flip the switch on and it'll be on. This has been very aggravating, but I must admit, I like a challenge, and I fancy myself kind of a wiring guru. Oop, there went the hood. Let's flop that again. But I fancy myself really good at wiring. The truck's running, so it charges the battery back up. But I am D-U-N-N. Done. Done, done, done. I don't see... Oh, that diode... That diode, hold on, is actually a 6 amp diode, and it came, it's one of the ones out of this. I did buy new ones for it, so I did replace it. But yeah, that's how we fix it. It's fairly clean. Like I said, I can tuck this down into here. Nobody ever be the wiser it was there, and people will ask me for generations, how did I do it? Unless they watch my YouTube channel, then they'll know. All right, done. Done. Going in, going to bed. The end. And one other thing worth noting whenever you're doing one of these is to find out whether your monitor is wired in to come on with the camera, like my old one was, because I had it actually hardwired into my cigar lighter. But this one is wired to be on as long as it's getting power. It doesn't have to have the signal to be on. So you can see it's on even though it's not getting any signal. So what I ended up doing is I wired this one into a keyed 12 volt power wire off the back of the fuse panel. I'm not going to tell you where to hook up yours because every truck is a little different, but that's how this one runs. So if you want to wire yours up, you know, and then finding out whether this is a momentary switch or not, which if you need to know what a momentary switch is, that's a long story. That's a short story. It's a switch that only provides a moment of power. Your horn is a momentary switch. This one is a solid state switch where if I move it, something actually mechanically engages or electrically engages to keep power flowing. So even if I turn the truck off, the camera goes off. Turn the truck back on. Now the camera comes back on. So now it works off my key. All right, now I'm done. The end. All right, it's been several weeks since I installed my backup camera. And I'll give you the ups and the downs and what I think. Now, first off, I originally wired this thing into just a 12 volt hot off my cigarette lighter for the actual camera on the back side. The problem with that is then this monitor never shut off. And then I wired it in the ignition. So the monitor would be on when the ignition was on, but the backup camera would only be on when it was in reverse. The problem with that was the monitor was on constantly, and even though it was black, like it was showing black, it caused a lot of glare, especially at night. So that didn't work. So what I ended up doing, and I'll show you kind of how I wired it, is I actually wired the monitor into my trailer reverse light as well. Okay, so there's an actual wire going out through the dash. If I would have realized all this sooner, I probably would have put that diode and everything on the inside, and then I could have just tapped into the wire that was already going out. But I didn't, but it just cost me a little bit of extra wire. So anyway, I still have my switch on the dash, which whenever I turn it on, even with the truck not running, I can look at what's behind me. And that is a 720 pixel picture. It's actually pretty good. I can even turn this on while I'm driving down the highway because it's wired into my trailer reverse lights. The only thing that would happen is the reverse lights on a trailer I was towing would come on, which I don't own a trailer with reverse lights, but if I did, you know, it'd obviously be something I would have to address. But this works for me, so I'm going to leave it as is. And now, whenever I turn the ignition on, and I'm not going to turn the truck the whole way on, and I put the truck into reverse, takes a split second, and there it is again. Okay? So that's everything behind me. I put it back in park, and it's off. So I can either put the vehicle into reverse to get the camera to work, or, like I said, I wired it into this toggle switch. There it is. I know it took a second to boot up, but you know, them's the brakes, you know what I mean? So, how did I do that? Well, from the back side of the camera, and you can see it a little bit here, there's a gray wire that runs down here that I tapped into a red wire. Oops, forgot to pop the hood. Sorry, I only semi-rehearse this. And by semi-rehearse, I mean, I know what I want to do, but I only did it in my mind. So, I haven't quite got that smoothness that you might see on some other channels. So here it is. This is the blue connector. This is where I vampire connected in to this red wire. So this wire right here is going up and it's running my monitor. It runs through the firewall there. I just poked the little hole in that grommet and ran it through. This wire is my feed from the switch, and I have the diode in there to block the power from my reverse lights. Think of how I did that. Yeah, the power from the reverse lights from going through this switch. For some reason, whenever you, without this diode in, you put the truck into reverse, it would blow the fuse for the trailer lights. So that tells me that somehow I was getting a power feed to ground through the switch. I didn't science it out because, I mean, all I did was wire in a diode. And I said, this is just a fuse holder with a air conditioning diode. You can get them a little shorter. I'm not real sure of the amperage, but this 6 amp one works. And all it does is it keeps positive power from coming back down this wire. It can go this way, but it can't go that way. But they both feed into this junction here that feeds into my fuse box to, if you remember, I had this all out, into that 15, where is it? I'm trying to see it in the camera. Oh, sorry. That 15 amp fuse, that little green fuse that I seem to have forgotten to take it out, is pointing towards. And that is your trailer reverse lights. Now, the bracket. The bracket is holding up really well. It's not something I would intentionally step on, but it keeps the camera somewhat protected. And I should have used a little better paint. I mean, it was Rust-Oleum, but I haven't primered or anything, so it is, you know, it's Pennsylvania. What do you want? We put salt on everything. But hey, I really like it. I had to change things up just a little bit, but it works for me. And I've had it for several weeks now, and it's been flawless. So I don't know if you'll do yours exactly like this, but I hope it gives you some good ideas. Alright, I gotta go work on Clampy the Ram Charger now. Bye-bye.